Hello, today we're going to take a look at Microsoft Word and just some of the basics of Microsoft Word. So notice I already have it open. To launch your program, usually you'd go to Windows button, All Programs, and then it's probably going to be somewhere like Microsoft Office or something like that. Okay. Another way to get into Microsoft Word is actually to right-click in any folder and go New, and you'll notice that Microsoft Word adds uh, an item to this context menu. So New Microsoft Word document, that will create a document in whatever folder that you want that you can rename. Um, okay, so those are a couple different ways. Notice that it gets saved with the docx file extension. Your file extensions may or may not, viewing the file extensions may or may not be turned on, but that's the default file extension for Microsoft Word. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the interface here. Microsoft Word, it has a couple quick buttons up here. So we have this Save button is probably the most important one. Notice it's a floppy disk. You've probably never seen one, but that's how we used to save information on a computer, and that's still the icon for save. But most of the file operations are in this File menu. So notice if we click on the File tab, notice that we get a lot of options here. Okay, so this is where I'd save as. We can save it as Adobe PDF. We can open a different Microsoft document, Microsoft Word document. Um, um, Also on this file menu, we have print. So this is where you would go to print. So on file, our main options are going to be here are save or save as and print. Okay, so of course save as, that's just saving the document. Whenever you open up a new document, the first thing that you want to do is save it. So let's go ahead and click save. The first time when we save, we have to select a place to save it into. So I'm going to go find my school folder on my desktop, and I'm going to save it as English Assignment 2. And click save. Okay, so that's basically the file menu. Okay, now let's take a look at the home menu, or the home tab. So Microsoft refers to this thing as a ribbon right here. Okay, so this is a ribbon interface. So the tabs let you change between ribbons. And what we have here is we have your basic text editing. So I'd call this my, let's say I have a document title, okay? Or let's say I have my title here, and I'd like my title to be bold. So I click B. Notice that when I have text that's bolded, let's say I have a subtitle. Okay, notice that it'll keep typing in bold. Notice if I highlight this and unclick the bold, it unbolds it. Okay, so I can italicize, underline, I can change the font. Notice that I have to select the text first. When I select text, Microsoft gives me this pop-up menu right here, and it has your basic formatting right here if you don't want to go all the way up to the ribbon. Okay, but I can go ahead and select a new font or new size. Let's say that I want to make this size bigger. Notice that it automatically makes it larger. I can also center the text. Okay, so the Windows title, I'm sorry, the Home tab allows me to do all my basic text formatting. I can make a list. Okay, I can make a list, and I can make it bulleted. Here are my bullets. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and take another look at, let's take a look at the other tabs. So insert, this is where I would insert a blank page or page break. This can be very useful. If I insert a page break, I get a new page. So anywhere on my page, I don't have to keep hitting enter. I can just put in a page break and it gives me a new fresh page. I can insert a table here. Okay, notice that it lets me select what kind of table. I can insert a picture by going and selecting a picture from my computer. I can insert shapes, different kinds of charts. Okay, the other useful thing here is going to be a header or footer. Okay, so this on the insert page, I also can insert a footer, and this could be anything from page numbers to anything else. And notice it automatically brings up the footer and gives me this footer menu. Notice that if I go ahead and insert a header, I can insert a header here. Okay, and notice after I insert that header, I can actually go back in and double click it, and I get back into this special header toolbar up here. Okay, so let's get away from the header. So that's on the insert menu. Okay, so I can insert all those different things. Now on page layout, this is where you actually take a look at the margin. So if your teacher has a specific margin that they need you to use, this is right where you do that. So I can adjust the margins. I can also put in line breaks or line numbers, hyphenating. Okay, this is where if I want to make my orientation different, say I want to print out not in portrait so the paper stands up, but on landscape to make my paper a bit wider. This is where I can do that. Notice that now my paper is far wider. I'm going to change this back to portrait. So those are your main things. Also, this is where you have spacing. So if I have a couple lines of text, okay, notice this is where I would change my spacing. Okay, and they have increased points of spacing. Whoops. Okay, or decreasing points of spacing. Okay. We can also change the page color and page borders. Okay, now so that's basically the page layout tab. Anything having to do with how the content is displayed on the page that affects the entire page is on the page layout tab. Now we have references. So this is more of an advanced section. This would be for proofreading and this type of thing. As a beginning user, you may or may not be using references. Mailings, this is where you would create multiple pages for, say, mailing out personalized letters, like putting in people's first names or last names for many recipients. Okay. I'm sorry, references, I made a mistake. References were not where you review things. References are where we'd insert footnotes, so this would be for academic papers. The review tab is where you would do proofreading, and you may not be using either one of those, the references, mailings, or review when you first start using Microsoft Word. Finally, the view tab. This is where you affect how things are displayed on the page. So we have web layout. This is good if, say, a table goes off the page. Web layout shows you absolutely everything regardless of page size. We can also turn on the rulers, grid lines, navigation page. Okay, rulers is probably the one thing that you'll definitely want to turn on because this can affect your tabs. Okay, so if we actually put in a tab stop, what that does for us, if we click onto this line, notice our tab stop. If I click tab one time, notice that my cursor goes over to this tab stop. That's something that you can use. We can also do things like arrange our windows that are open. Okay, finally we have add-ins and Acrobat. Okay, so that's a review of the main features of Word. You should experiment with them yourselves or use them as